Good morning. My name is Evelyn. So, how many of you guys have heard about the women's national team filing lawsuit against the USSF? The USSF stands for the U.S. Soccer Federation. So, I'd expect quite a few since it has been a popular, ongoing topic, and it has been trending, and it has been on the news quite a couple of times. So, today I'll be talking about what that lawsuit states and what it is essentially, and how it affects the women's team. I'll talk about stats and revenue, and so like comparing the women's national team to the men's national team, which is one of the main reasons that'll help support women into getting the equal pay and hopefully winning the lawsuit. So then we'll also discuss about possible solutions, why they do deserve it. So basically, it's called the U.S. Women's National Team Gender Discrimination lawsuit, which is filed against their employer. So they want equal pay, specifically like regarding the bonuses, since the bonuses is what's making a big difference between the teams, where the men make more bonuses than the women, or like a higher amount in the bonuses than the women do. So they also, and like I think one of the important aspects of this lawsuit isn't just equal pay, but it's also that they want equity with support from their employers. So in around 2016, 5 players of the women's national team issued a complaint to the USSF about pay and the playing conditions. So in 2017, it led to create a new contract where the women's team bargained with the USSF, which that contract is what is used now. Something important that I think that people need to understand is the pay structure, since the pay structure is different for both teams, and like the distribution, it isn't the same. And if you're just hearing it, like if you're just hearing about this lawsuit and you're not digging in deep enough to researching, you're gonna say like, oh no, well the men, like the women shouldn't have equal pay, like it's not the same. But if you really pay attention into the numbers, which I'm gonna explain a little bit about, then you'll understand, and you'll know how like it isn't fair for the women to be earning less than the men when they have more success in the past years than the men. So next I'll be talking about the revenue and that they're generating, and the stats. So their pay distribution is different. The women, they have an annual salary, and it's a guarantee of $100,000. And then they also have additional bonuses and benefits, like full paid benefits, which include maternity leave. It includes dental care, fully paid dental care, and full health care. And they also have a retirement plan, so money goes into that retirement plan, so for later. While the men, they have what's called pay for play, so they're paid per game and their performance. So they have larger bonuses, and they get $5,000 guaranteed if they lose the game. But they don't have a guaranteed salary, and they also don't have benefits. So the way that they're paid, it's established by having it includes their pay, endorsement, and it also includes prize money. Prize money is also referred to as pool money, which is what tournaments generate, and like it's whatever the winner gets or how much that team gets depending on their placing. So like now, since we like understand a little bit more about the pay distribution, I'm going to talk about their stats, their successes from the women's and the men's. So in the women, there's only been 8 World Cups, and out of those 8, the women have been champions 4 times, and they've had consecutive championships as well. So these World Cups were from 1991 to 2019 so far, and they have placed second place once and third place 3 times. So out of the 8 World Cups that there has been, the women have placed every single time. And on the opposing side, so the men, they they've had 21 World Cups and they've never been a champion. They did place one time. They got third place in 1930, and that's the only time that they've ever placed. And they didn't qualify for 2018. So basically, just by these stats, we can tell how the women have had far more success than what the men have had, and it's one of the main uh, battleground factors that will help make this case better and hopefully succeed in giving women equal pay. So in 2016 to 2018, roughly the women made $50.8 million in revenue, according to CNBC, and the men had made $49.9 million in revenue. So this means that the women were generating more money and bringing in more money than what the men had made in previous years, which is another reason why it goes to show that women deserve the equal pay. And then women have also had more matches than the men in like specific amounts of in specific years, which causes them to have to work harder than what the men have. So essentially, it is fair for the women to get equal pay because based on their successes and all their wins and their like matches compared to the men, there's a big difference, and the amount of revenue being brought in. So next, I'm gonna talk about like the possible solutions as to why the women, like how the women can get the equal pay, and why they should as well. So, according to Finance.Yahoo, in that article they state that the Women's World Cup in 2015 brought in had a good amount of viewers who watched that game, which that contributes to the revenue being brought into the federation. Yet it's still not distributed properly between the men and the women, because the women have had higher successes, yet they still earn less than the men, regardless of the men who haven't qualified for the World Cup or who haven't placed, and they still get more. So basically, what countries can do, they don't really, according to like the CNN article, countries don't really invest much in their women's sports or in their teams, and that's something that could change. That these countries can invest in their women's sports as well, because they've been gaining momentum. Like the World Cup, it's been gaining viewership. It's been gaining more. Like they've been bringing in more revenue, the women, and like it's showing that they can do the same as men, and potentially better. So, what we can do is we can help them with views. We can help them by buying jerseys and like going to games or just watching them like at home if you want, or just keeping up with stats and stuff. Um, the women have had less matches on natural grass, and they've been trying to get it to have less on turf, since turf is turf slightly generates injuries. I mean, it's not saying the natural grass doesn't as well, but when you're playing on turf, and if you've played on turf, you know this, that you have more sudden stops with turf, which causes your knees and your ankles to probably eventually have pain rather than on grass, which is why it's common for athletes to get to sprain their MCLs or ACLs or tear their ligaments. So, in general, to sum up the equal pay distribution, so like they want, in the lawsuit, they want equality amongst all. So we can help by giving views. So there's investing more into the women's sports. It's very important because we want future generations to grow up saying like, oh yeah, like, you know, I could do that too, or like to like have our future daughters or sisters or mothers and cousins like say like, oh yeah, like I want to do this, and like, oh, but I deserve this, like, you know, for them to know that they deserve more since they are putting in more work. And something else that the USSF can do is that they can start by changing their conditions. So they can start by allowing and like providing the same amount of charter flights for men and women. So advertisement having the same amount of advertising for both of the teams when it comes to their time playing in the World Cup or in tournaments. The amounts of games played and the amounts of games being broadcasted as well is somewhere that they can start to help out the women, and which eventually would lead them to get equal pay as well. So, as you can tell, that from the stats that I have provided, women do deserve equal pay since they have been working twice as hard and then they have been working and getting more success than what the men have had in the previous years. So, with that being said, I hope you guys show more interest into women's sports and maybe soccer if you guys would like, and just help out and support the equal pay movement for women and like the lawsuit. So, thank you.